Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Tsukihime. When last we left off, we had lunch with Inui and Ciel, and I like Ciel, so that's fine. And then we had a very short chat with Yumizuka, and Ciel confused her with our girlfriend, which would, well, if only. If only. Anyway, let's get back into it, shall we? The last class of the day ends. I don't feel like going to the mansion right away, so I just blankly stare out the window overlooking the school grounds. The classroom is dyed orange by the sunset. It's like red watercolor paint, and it hurts my eyes. I don't like red. It feels like it soaks deep into the back of my eyes, and I want to throw up. It seems I'm weak against things that resemble blood. No, I should say I'm weak against blood itself. 8 years ago, I had a near-death experience. I was in an accident where I was injured in the chest, and I teetered between life and death for days. I should have died instantly, but miraculously, I survived. Maybe it's because of great medical treatment. However, the injuries were so severe that I don't even remember the accident. That's actually not that uncommon. You'll have a lot of times where people suffer traumatic injuries and just have no memory of the actual injury itself. I know somebody that cut the pad of one of their fingers, like almost completely off with a was it not a hacksaw, a table saw? And they don't remember anything. They remembered they went to go cut a piece of wood down to the size that they wanted it to be, and the next memory they have is them sitting on the ground waiting for an ambulance to arrive because they cut their finger and they called an ambulance. They called 911. Oh, no, that was it. No memory of the incident happening. No memory of the immediate happening as in the immediate afterwards of the injury. At all. Not a one. And I don't have it like that. I'm one of the people that I tend to have, my memory is shit, but I have very vivid memories of like really bad injuries and really bad events in my life. Like this is a random aside, ramble me. I broke my arm when I was a kid, like cracked the bone. It wasn't a bad break. I was only in a cast for a month and a half, at most two, at absolute most two. And I remember exactly what happened. Moment for moment, I remember what happened and what happened immediately after. Like vividly, I can close my eyes and I can see it. Same thing with when I cut my foot open real bad and I had to get stitches, and yeah, I remember all the bad things. I'm one of those people. I think it's what tends to be described, at least what I've heard it described as a writer's curse, or the super creative person's curse, is a lot of people, they forget stuff, but some people, writers, and I think I even was described in Misery by Stephen King, great book, highly recommended, that and the main character had something bad happen to him, and he says he wishes that he could forget, but he's a writer and he will remember every detail. And I'm kind of like that. I remember all the details of the really, really bad things in life, and as well as other really enjoyable things, but the negative emotions tend to stand out more person to person. But I've been rambling for 2 minutes. I should stop. 8 years ago, when I was a child, I felt a thud pass right through the middle of my chest, and then I passed out. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. All I could remember afterwards was the pain and the cold. I don't remember much of the accident, but even today, the scar on my chest remains. I guess numerous fragments of glass pierced my chest, leaving a burn-like scar there and in my back. Actually, I was quite surprised at being saved. Ever since then, I frequently collapse from an anemia-like dizziness and cause a lot of trouble for others. Maybe that's why my old man believed I was unfit to be the heir to the Tono household and entrusted me to our relatives. The wound on my chest, huh? The huge scar in the middle of my chest, hidden from view by my uniform. Now that I think about it, after that accident was when I started to see those lines. I'm able to forget them thanks to my glasses that Senpai gave me, but I think I would have completely gone mad if I never met her. Keiko-san, the person who had been my mother up until now, said when I left the Tono household wasn't normal. Said when I left that the Tono household wasn't normal. No problem. I'm not a normal person myself. Adjusting my crooked glasses, I pick up my bag. I can't stay in the classroom forever. Now then, we have two choices here. We can go back to the mansion, or we can stay at school a little longer. We have to have... Hold on. Actually, what is this for? Yeah. We do have to have this scene. Okay. Because we need flag 6. And hopefully, if I did things right, fingers crossed, all things will be good. And if not, I will go through on my free time on my own and get to a point where things are new. Or, correct. Crossing my fingers, so I'm double checking. First scene, we had Aki Regard. We had to get that. And I'm describing things to you because I'm not crazy. We had to go to Aki Regard. We had to ignore the sound to get Aki Regard in order to go to the next scene where we had to get flag M, which we needed for here to get flag 6. Right. I think theoretically I didn't have... I'm hopeful that it's for the best. I'm hoping for the best. But we're going to return to the mansion. Because we have to. We absolutely have to. Because if we don't get flag 6 at all, we cannot go into the far side route. Period. Outright. Full stop. Okay. Now my reason is explained. And now I'm hoping that everything will be okay. Again, hoping, because I've made that mistake before. Anyway, I've been very, very rambly this episode. I don't have anything to do, so I hurry up and leave school. Come to think of it, I hadn't left the school by the main entrance since the entrance ceremony. I guess this will be the way to and from school from now on, since I live in the mansion. Oh, right, I forgot to drink water at the choice, like I usually do. Hold a moment. Drink water. It's good for you. Unless you drink too much, in which case you are losing electrolytes. You can, not exactly overdose on water, but you can drink too much water and it actually will make you ill. I don't know how ill, and I know it takes a ton of water, but you basically have to drink enough water to give yourself an electrolyte imbalance. Fun fact. So drink water, but don't drink that much. Leaving the main gate, I come to the intersection that leads to the residential district. This is the point at which the paths to the city and the residential district where the mansion is part. Oh, it's Tono-kun. Suddenly, I run into Yumizuka. Hello Yumizuka-san. It may have been because of Sale's teasing, but I feel a little embarrassed. Yumizuka looks at me, bewildered. Yumizuka-san? Is there something on my face? I was wondering what you were doing here, Tono-kun. isn't your house in the other direction? Well, it was until yesterday, but I'm living somewhere else starting today. From now on, I'll be living at a place at the top of the hill at the end of that residential district. Huh, so that's what you were talking about this morning? Yumizuka clasps her fist and an open palm together in understanding. Well, all flattery aside, that gesture seems incredibly cute. That's right. I guess there's no point in hiding it from you since you already know. I'm leaving my guardians, the Arimas, and going back to my real house today. Your real house? You mean the Tono mansion? Yeah. I don't think it really suits me either. You see, you're a real prince on top of the hill after all. It was a secret only Inui-kun and I knew, but I guess everyone's gonna find out. With a faint smile, Yumizuka casts her gaze into the distance. She looks out at the horizon, as if looking at the Tono mansion off in the distance at the top of the hill. But will you be alright? Even if it is your house, you've been away for 8 years, right? Aren't you afraid or worried? Yeah, I'm actually kind of uneasy. I never liked that mansion to begin with, and now it's beginning to feel like someone else's house too. But still, I can't lead a carefree life on my own and leave my sister Akiya there all by herself. No matter how uneasy I am, I have to return to the mansion. In the end, it's still my home. I think it's only natural for me to go back. You see? Sorry for stopping you, Tono-kun. You must be in a hurry, right? No, not really. I was just having a stroll on my way home. I see. For some reason, Yumizuka looks downcast and falls silent. What's wrong, Yumizuka-san? Are you feeling sick? I break the silence, but she continues to stare downward without raising her head. I can't just leave her there, so I continue to stand there, looking at her. And then... Yeah, what is it? I'm going along the same way as you until we reach the hill. Really? Then let's go together for part of the way. Eh? Yumizuka's eyes widen and she stands there stiffly for a moment. Yeah, you're right. We're going back the same way, so it wouldn't be strange for us to go together for part of the way, right? She says this all with an excessively cheerful voice and stands right beside me. Just at the right time, too. I'm not too familiar with the streets around here, so would you mind guiding me? Sure. Well then, let's go down the street. The first one was Tono. I didn't realize that until after I finished reading it. I apologize. And again, I apologize for any time I get a voice or character incorrect. I'm only human after all. It's a back street that leads all the way to the street on the hill. I walk home while chatting with Yumizuka. Talking to Yumizuka isn't anything particularly special, but it is enjoyable in a peaceful kind of way. Despite what Arihiko had said, Yumizuka Satsuki has a gentle air about her, and I feel safe being around her. You know, I actually quite like people like that are really peaceful to talk to, that, you know, have a soothing voice helps, but just kind of in general, they're very relaxing to talk to because they're not like talking super quickly like I tend to, or they don't really talk about things that are overly complicated for the sake of being complicated and stuff like that. I don't know how to explain it very well, but you know, Yumizuka is the type of person that in real life I would actually not mind being friends with. She's quite a well-written character. Seriously, I've mentioned this in Akiya's route, and possibly Hisui's, that Yumizuka is Out of all the characters in this game, she is the best character in terms of would be best for Shiki and would be best to know in real life. Like, I wouldn't particularly want to know any of the other characters in this because, well, they all have their own baggage, and Yumizuka does too, but Yumizuka is the most human of all the characters in this. She really is. I really, really like Yumizuka. She's not best girl, that is Kohaku. She is probably tied with Hisui for second best girl, and it is a outright tie for me anyway, so I refer to both of them as second best girl because it's only fair. While we're talking, Yumizuka suddenly laughs as if she had remembered something. What is it all of a sudden? Did I say something funny? No, that's not it. It's just, starting tomorrow, I'll be taking the same route to school as you. She laughs, looking truly happy. See, she deserves her own route, and it would be so easy to do. It really would. It really, really would. Easier than making an Ilya route in Fate. Easier than making a Fujimoto or Taiga route. I don't remember her last name. Is her last name Fujimoto? I don't remember. Seriously. Out of all of the other routes that people really want in Nasu Works, she would be outright the easiest, and to me is the one that I want the most, because I don't give a shit about a Taiga route. I don't care about an Ilya route. I actually outright don't want an Ilya route, to be fair. The only other person I could think I want almost as much as her, is Ryder, and, well, even Ryder's not as good as Satsuki. I complain. She laughs, looking truly happy. That honest, smiling face is enough to make me happy as I watch her. I didn't realize it up until now. Even putting her looks and mannerisms aside, Yumizuka Satsuki is kind of cute. I'm slowly beginning to understand why the boys in our class have been so worked up over her for so long now. Our conversation ceases. I'm simply fascinated by Yumizuka's smile, and the two of us fall silent. And I don't know if you've ever met somebody like this in real life, again, going on a tangent of Yumizuka being great. She's the type of person that, at least how she's described to me anyway, how I take her descriptions to be, is she's the type of person that just being around her, talking to her, it's calming. She has a very relaxing, very calming aura, a very unassuming person with a very disarming personality. So, just my, I've given more than 2 cents at this point, though my opinions are worthless. Anyway, without saying anything, we walk towards the residential district in the sunset. Suddenly, "Hey, do you remember what happened during the winter vacation of our second year in middle school?" Yumizuka murmurs. I tilt my head to one side. The winter vacation of the second year of middle school was when I applied to stay for extra lessons at school because I felt bad about staying at the Arimas. I remember it well enough, but I still don't understand why she asked me about it. Just as I thought. Someone like Tono-kun would never have remembered. Disappointed, Yumizuka's shoulders droop. There were 2 sports sheds at our middle school, right? Remember? One was a new shed being used by the big clubs, and the other one was the old one used by smaller clubs like badminton. The old shed had a certain problem where the alignment of the door was bad, so there would often be times when it wouldn't open. Old shed. That little concrete building at the back of the gymnasium? Ah, that shed. The one which they stopped using after some students got trapped inside. Yeah, that's the one. The students were second years from the badminton club. Ah, yeah, something like that did happen. Track 7, How I Love You So. It was early in the new year, on a cold winter's day. This is, by the way, the only track that I know by name. It is track 7, the Tsukihime soundtrack. In the first 3 days of the new year having passed, I had applied for extra lessons and requested to stay behind at school and help out because I felt bad staying at the Arimas. But even that was only until 5 in the evening. It had become dark, and I was forced out of the classroom as all the teachers were going home. In the middle of winter, even if it was only 5, the surroundings really had darkened. The weather report had predicted snow for that day, and the cold was extra harsh. And so, just when I had decided to head straight home for the day, I heard a banging sound from the old shed, and I went to check things out. Is anyone there? In there? Is there anybody in there? It's a Pink Floyd song. I asked, and I heard the voices of several female students in reply from inside the shed. If I could sing, I'd sing you a line or two from there. Big fan of Pink Floyd. A few albums by Pink Floyd. Their earlier stuff. And pretty much everything of theirs I heard, to be fair. Pink Floyd's great. Prog rock's great. Listen to it. They'd been trapped in there for 2 hours. While packing up the club equipment, they had closed the door because of the cold, and now it wouldn't open again. They couldn't open the door no matter what, and wanted me to call out one of the teachers for help. But the teachers had all gone home. Even if I were to call them now on the phone, it'd take another hour. The cold on that day was truly terrible. And the kind of cold that should have prompted snow. I thought it would be cruel to leave those girls stuck inside wearing only their PE uniforms for another hour. After some hesitation and confirming that no one else was around, I took off my glasses and cut the line on the shed door. The door opened, and about 5 female students, eyes red from crying, poured out. Come to think of it, there was something like that, but I'm surprised you knew about it. The captain of the trapped badminton club told me, "This has to do with club survival, so don't tell anyone." It was almost like she was threatening me. "Oh, Tano-kun, you had no interest in knowing who was trapped inside there, did you? Listen, I was one of the badminton club members." Yumizuka sounds like she's pouty. So, in other words, you still remember it well. When I think about it now, I was only being trapped inside a shed, but at the time it was cold and dark, and I was really worried. Everyone thought we were going to freeze to death like that. My stomach was growling from hunger, too. It was just about to collapse. That must have been rough. I can't really empathize with her, so I give a half-hearted response. Unconcerned, Yumizuka continues her recollections, bringing up old events anew. And just when everyone was trembling, you came along and asked, "Is anyone in there?" in your usual unexcited voice, and then the captain got angry and shouted, "Can't you tell by looking?" You remember? Yeah, I remember. There was a loud bang when she threw a bat at the door. I was really surprised. "That's right," Yumizuka says, laughing. It's very loud outside for some reason. I don't know if you can actually hear that. Oh well. But when I heard all the teachers had gone, we really lost all hope. Wrong voice. Sorry about that. It was Satsuki. We couldn't stand being there for even a minute longer, yet we had to face the prospect of being trapped until the next day. Just when we were thinking about how miserable the world was, he knocked on the door and said, "I might be able to open the door if you can keep it a secret." Yeah. And then I heard another bang, and someone said if it opened that easily, so we wouldn't be suffering in here. She was really angry. Yeah, the captain felt responsible for getting us trapped, so she didn't have much patience to spare. You know, they say the next day, but it would surprise me if they were in there for that long. This is the 90s, and it is also a different country and a different culture, but you'd think that, if they didn't return home or were an hour late from home, they'd, try to find out where the fuck their child is, but, that's just me. But soon after that, the door opened. Everyone was happy that the captain's knocking with the bat must have worked, and ran outside, but I watched you aimlessly stand by the door. Yumizuka looks at me warmly. But that only troubles me. To me, it meant nothing, so I can't really appreciate her gratitude. I was crying really hard at the time, My eyes just felt like they were swelling up, and they looked terrible. What do you think you said when you saw me like that? I don't know. What did I say? I really don't remember, so I asked, as if it was something someone else had done. Despite this, Yumizuka still looks at me happily. You put your hand on my head and said, "Hurry up and go home and eat some ozoumi." Ozouni, rather, not umi. Umi is ocean, sea, something like that. I was a little embarrassed because I was trembling so much for the cold. I knit my brows. I don't know what I meant back then. You think you meant for me to warm up my body by having ozouni? I see. It was right after New Year's, after all. That does sound like the kind of stupid thing I would say. Now that it's put to me like this, I regret not having picked something better to say. Back then, I thought there are plenty of reliable people at school, but if I ever needed to be saved, it would be Tono-kun who saved me. You're exaggerating. Look, it's like how a baby chick thinks the first human it meets is its mother. I just happened to help you. That's not true. Ever since then, I really believe that you come and help me no matter what the problem was. Her expression is quite resolute. You're giving me too much credit, Yumizuka-san. I'm not that reliable of a person. It's alright. That's what I believe, so let me keep believing it. She pronounces this while staring straight at me, and I'm too embarrassed to offer a rebuttal. Well, I guess you can believe it what you want. Isn't that right? So, if I'm ever in a pinch, you'll come and help me, right? Yumizuka asks me, smiling. To be honest, that would be kind of troubling. Despite what she thinks, I'm not the sort of guy who can do everything. I'm not, but when she faces me with that smile, I don't want to destroy that faith she has in me. Yeah. If it's within my power, I'll help you. Yep. Thank you, Tono-kun. I know it's a bit late to say this, but I was really happy because of what you said to me back then. Saying that, Yumizuka suddenly stops. Naturally, I stop too. I've always wanted to talk to you with you like this, Tono-kun. Somewhere in her voice was a hint of wistfulness. Perhaps it's because of the red light from the sunset, but somehow Yumizuka looks lonely. What do you mean? You can talk to me anytime. No, I can't. Inui-kun is always around you, and besides, I can't become someone like you, Tono-kun. With that reserved answer, Yumizuka draws away from me. Well, my home is this way, so I'll leave you at school tomorrow. Or I'll see you at school tomorrow. Bye-bye. Smiling, Yumizuka waves her hand and begins walking down another street. I walk along a different path than the one I usually take. Passing through unfamiliar streets, I slowly approach the Tono mansion. The surroundings are not completely unfamiliar. After all, I had lived here until I was 9 years old, 8 years ago. This is not the first time I have taken this path back to the mansion. My feelings are a little complex. The path home is nostalgic, yet fresh. Up until just now, I had not looked forward to returning to the Tono household. Now, it doesn't seem so bad. The house I lived in until I was 9 years old. Right now, my sister Akiya is in that utterly un-Japanese style mansion. Tono Makihisa, my old man who hated me and the master of the Tono household, died a few days ago. My mother died from illness after Akiya was born, so the Tonos had dwindled down to me and my sister. Being the eldest son, you would think I would stand to become the Tono heir, but I have no such privilege. To become the Tono heir means being bound by a strict upbringing. I have lost count of the number of times my father had scolded me over my dislike of not being able to live freely. That was when I got involved in the accident, and my body became weakened. My father saw it as a good opportunity to get rid of me. His reasoning was something along the lines of someone who could die at any moment can't become the heir, even if he is the oldest son. Sadly for my father, I betrayed his expectations by making a recovery, but my sister Akiya was already deemed to be the heir of the Tono household. And so I've heard that Akiya, who was already being harshly raised in order to become a proper daughter of the Tono household, received an even harsher upbringing since then. That was a long time ago. I played together with Akiya in the mansion back before the accident. After that, I never saw her again. The life in the mansion I abandoned 8 years ago. Those 8 years were long, and my memories of that time have largely faded. But in spite of that, there is one thing that even now continues to burn strongly within my heart, and that is the end of the episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, next time, well, I'm sure you already know what choice we're going to choose. Well, because there's only one left that we haven't. So, next time, we ask about the girl, or we think about the girl by the window. Well, I hope to see you all there.